In regards to this girl who fell into that volcano, I keep seeing all of these fake, poorly researched, long book report comments left by most likely Gen Z. This was an abandonment. You guys left her. She had a tour guide. It was your responsibility.
Unless you're an experienced mountain climber, you cannot cross this ridge because it's too dangerous.
You cannot be mad that somebody did not want to risk their life going down there to get her, and they can't find her. Did y'all see how thick that fog was? The fog was so thick. Y'all are making it seem like they could just look down there and see her. I don't think y'all understand how far Shorty really fell and how hard it would have been to get her safely.
And because you're on volcanic ash, every 2 steps forward is 1 step back. So you're all sliding up and down this ridge as you start walking. You cannot see around you. You can't see if it's a sheer drop like either side of you. You can just see whatever your head torch is showing in front of you, and that's it. So you are very on guard.
So y'all just don't understand. You need to do some research before y'all blame people for not wanting to risk their life to go get her, especially if they couldn't even see. Like, what are we actually looking for at this point?
So yeah, take from that what you want. Hopefully that information shows a bit more of the harder side of Mount Rinjani. Really do your research. Don't just look at all of the aesthetic videos of people summiting, and make a very calculated decision as to whether you're an experienced mountain climber or not before you do it.
Perdebatan tentang siapa yang salah dan siapa yang benar dalam insiden di Gunung Rinjani masih terus menggema, khususnya di media-media Brasil. Banyak suara menyayangkan lambatnya proses evakuasi dan minimnya perlengkapan penyelamatan. Namun, di sisi lain, tidak sedikit pula yang justru menyoroti kesiapan pendaki itu sendiri. Gunung Rinjani bukanlah destinasi wisata biasa. Ia adalah gunung berapi aktif dengan medan ekstrim yang menuntut fisik, mental, dan pengalaman yang mumpuni. Banyak wisatawan asing yang datang hanya karena terpekona oleh keindahan foto dan video di media sosial, tanpa benar-benar menyadari tantangan besar yang menanti di ketinggian lebih dari 3.000 meter. Beberapa bule pun angkat bicara, mengingatkan pentingnya riset, persiapan matang, serta kesadaran akan batas kemampuan diri sebelum memutuskan untuk menaklukkan Rinjani. Sebab, di gunung, kelalaian kecil bisa membawa dampak besar. Seorang bule asal Amerika menyampaikan pandangannya terkait insiden tragis yang menimpa pendaki asal Brasil di Gunung Rinjani. Ia merasa geram melihat banyak komentar dari netizen yang menyalahkan tim selamat tanpa memahami kondisi medan dan resiko yang nyata di lapangan.
In regards to this girl who fell into that volcano, I keep seeing all of these fake, poorly researched, long book report comments left by most likely Gen Z. This was an abandonment. You guys left her. She had a tour guide. It was your responsibility. If somebody falls 1,000 feet into a volcano, I am not going after them. First of all, rest in peace to her. That's a very sad way to go. However, you cannot be mad that somebody did not want to risk their life going down there to get her, and they can't find her. Did y'all see how thick that fog was? The fog was so thick. Y'all are making it seem like they could just look down there and see her. I don't think y'all understand how far Shorty really fell and how hard it would have been to get her safely. Like, it would have been more than one casualty if everybody, like, they don't have ropes long enough. 1,000 feet is very long, especially with in a volcano. Volcanoes are made of ash. On the inside, it's just all ash. It's like quicksand. If you try to move, you're just going to keep sliding further down. So y'all just don't understand. You need to do some research before y'all blame people for not wanting to risk their life to go get her, especially if they couldn't even see. Like, what are we actually looking for at this point? Like, the drone can go there because it can fly. Edward Cullen could have saved her.
Dari sudut pandang bule ini, kemarahan yang ditujukan pada tim SAR Indonesia tidaklah adil. Ia dengan tegas menyatakan bahwa medan tempat korban jatuh bukanlah area yang bisa diakses dengan mudah. Ia menjelaskan bahwa jatuh ke dalam kawah vulkanik aktif, apalagi sedalam 1.000 kaki adalah hal yang nyaris mustahil untuk dievakuasi secara langsung. Gunung berapi tersusun dari material abu dan pasir vulkanik yang tidak stabil, yang membuat siapapun yang mencoba turun justru beresiko mengalami hal serupa. Menurutnya, masyarakat harus berhenti membuat asumsi tanpa riset dan tidak bisa serta-merta menyalahkan tim penyelamat atas keterbatasan yang memang ada secara alamiah. Ia menekankan bahwa dalam situasi ekstrim seperti itu, keselamatan petugas penyelamat juga harus diprioritaskan. Empatinya tetap besar terhadap korban. Namun ia menolak tudingan tak berdasar terhadap mereka yang sudah berjuang sekuat tenaga dalam situasi penuh resiko tersebut. Seorang bule dari luar negeri yang memiliki latar belakang fisik cukup kuat dan terbiasa berolahraga menyampaikan pengalamannya mendaki Gunung Rinjani bersama pasangannya. Niat awal mereka adalah untuk membagikan pengalaman mendaki secara jujur dan apa adanya, agar wisatawan lain bisa membuat keputusan tepat sebelum mencoba menaklukkan salah satu gunung tertinggi dan paling indah di Indonesia ini.
This is what it's really like to hike Mount Rinjani. So I'm making this video so that if you're similar to me and Gaz, you'll get some real information and hopefully be able to make the right decision if it's the right hike for you. And also, obviously, there's so many videos out there of beautiful montages of people reaching the summit that sometimes you get fooled into thinking that it's possible for you when it's not. So I'm going to give you all of the information and details from us so you can make the right decision. Anyway, for a bit of context, so you know what me and Gaz are like, I have been training in the gym weightlifting for the past 10 years and I work out around 4 times a week. Gaz does martial arts training and he works out about 6 times a week and he's been doing that for over 10 years. So our fitness levels are definitely there. You know, we're quite fit and healthy people. Mountaineering experience, we've done the odd hike like Mount Snowdon in Wales, and during COVID we did a lot of hikes in the Peak District that were like 10-11 hours, but we've not done any of them for years and we were definitely not experienced, so that's obviously where we fail. So if you're similar to us, then this is what our experience is like, so you get some information. So the first day of climbing Mount Rinjani, you go for a health check. It takes like 5 minutes. They take your blood pressure, I think they ask your age and your weight, and then it's down to you whether you decide you want to go and do it, but that's all that's asked. You're in and out very, very quickly. The first day is a 7-hour hike. You are given, the first 3 hours I'd say are pretty easy if you've got a good fitness level. It was almost felt like too good to be true. You're given lunch, and then I'd say the last 3 hours of the hike is when things start to get pretty tough. So you're scrambling up rocks at a pretty intense incline. Obviously you're then quite high up altitudes wise, and that's when I started to get dark thoughts, thinking I'm not fit enough. I had to put headphones in to kind of block out my mind to stop myself from thinking these things. I was bright red in the face and I was short of breath, so it was pretty challenging for me. Gaz didn't struggle anywhere near as much as I did, and the boys in the group didn't, but yeah, it was hard work for me getting up those 7 hours, but still manageable. More of a mental battle than a physical battle for my fitness levels. Anyway, you arrive in base camp for the evening, you have dinner, and then everyone goes to bed super early, let's say like 7 p.m. when the sun goes down, because you have to get up at 2 a.m. the next day for the sunrise hike, and that's when things get really, really challenging. So you're absolutely exhausted from the day before. You wake up at 2 a.m. and you start hiking. Now, for context on what I was wearing, actually, because that's probably important, I was wearing a t-shirt, a hoodie, I hired a puffer jacket from the guides, I think I hired gloves, I had gym leggings on, and I had sports trainers on. There was no option to hire walking boots, and I think that's really important. And I also hired walking sticks as well, which is necessary. So anyway, you start hiking at 2 a.m. It's absolutely freezing up there compared to when you set off. I really wish I had more layers. The hike in the dark is terrifying, but there's massive groups of you walking in a line, so it almost kind of makes you feel more confident because there's people in front and behind you as you start the hike. You start at the incline, and because you're on volcanic ash, every 2 steps forward is 1 step back, so you're all sliding up and down this ridge as you start walking. You cannot see around you, you can't see if it's a sheer drop like either side of you, you can just see whatever your head torch is showing in front of you, and that's it. So you are very on guard, but obviously as the hike progresses, your brain slows down more and more. Number 1, I was freezing. Number 2, you're at an altitude. Number 3, you're exhausted. So it gets harder and harder. The people who are in the big line at the start, it starts to kind of dwindle off. People either stop or people go faster than you, slower than you, and then you start to become a bit more isolated as time goes on. If you are at a good fitness level, they say 3 to 4 hours to get to the summit before sunrise is about normal, but I think we were going way slower than that. Things started to get pretty scary. I'd say an hour and a half in for us is when you get past the main start of the ridges, where you still are sliding around, but it's a bit thicker on your walking path. you start to get to these like really skinny ridges, which I'm not even joking, like they're about as big enough as like two of me essentially, and then either side is sheer drops down into the volcano. So any stumble, any dizziness, and you know you're gonna slide. It's pretty scary. We came to the first one of that and we started to get pretty scared then. Gaz doesn't like heights, so he was right behind me. We'd lost our group in front of us, so there was no one behind us, and our guide had left us hours ago, to be honest. I don't know, he didn't even join us until we were walking back down 4 hours later. Anyway, so we're walking along this ridge and yeah, we started to get a bit freaked out. We do the first ridge and we're like, right, maybe that's the only ridge we need to do. We start walking around these rocks and it's just at the bottom of where the summit is. So like the summit is here and there's another ridge as you come up to it. So you come around these rocks here and then there's this really long ridge that's completely exposed with nothing either side of it except from the volcano. And as we walk around the corner, there was this humongous gust of wind. Like, I'm not even joking, it was like, you like stumbled. And as we looked over it, there's this really thin ridge which you have to walk on for at least 2 to 3 minutes with massive gushes of wind. We saw a girl's head torch blow off as she was walking across, and that's when me and Gaz looked at each other and we thought, this is probably too far for us, like that looks scary. We ran back around the rocks to get shelter and we didn't even have like the mental capacity to make decisions really. We just knew that we were not going across that ridge. So we turned back round, walked down for a little bit longer, took shelter to warm up, and then the rest of our group also turned back round because they got sent back down from a guide, saying the guide was like, unless you're an experienced mountain climber, you cannot cross this ridge because it's too dangerous. So I think the day that we hiked, only like a group of like 5 people out of like say 200 got to the top. As we walked back down and the sun had come up, you saw the sheer terror of what you've been walking next to the whole way. And yeah, it's just, you need to be mentally switched on through the whole time, know that you have the right fitness, you're good with altitude, you're not scared of heights, to not be a risk whilst doing that. It was, yeah, we never once regretted turning around, to be honest. We were like, whatever, we're just glad we've come back down basically. So I'd say in terms of fitness, we would have made it to the top. Like, I think it would have been the hardest, worst thing of our whole entire lives getting to that summit, but I think our bodies would have been able to do it. But it was mental experience levels that's, you know, where your life is put at risk essentially. So yeah, and then after you've done that summit hike, you go back down to base camp, you rest for 2 hours, and then you've got another 7-hour hike down back to the original starting point. I cried like 3 times. I fell over more times than I can count walking back down. It was harder to walk down than it was to walk up on the first day. My toes hurt more. It felt like my big toenail was falling off. It was, yeah, I threw a toddler tantrum twice. It was embarrassing, but, and yeah, like I said, I'd say like, I pride myself on keeping fit and healthy, but it was hard. So yeah, take from that what you want. Hopefully that information shows a bit more of the harder side of Mountain Rinjani. Really do your research, don't just look at all of the aesthetic videos of people summiting, and make a very calculated decision as to whether you're an experienced mountain climber or not before you do it. Anyway, hopefully that helps. Let us know if you've got any questions in the comments.
Meski memiliki tingkat kebugaran yang baik, pengalaman mereka di Gunung Rinjani menjadi pelajaran berharga tentang pentingnya kesiapan mental, pengalaman mendaki, dan kesadaran akan resiko nyata di medan ekstrim. Mereka menyadari bahwa medan Gunung Rinjani, khususnya saat menuju puncak di tengah malam, sangat berbahaya. Dengan jalur yang sempit, licin, angin kencang, dan jurang di kedua sisi. Bahkan dengan stamina yang cukup, mereka akhirnya memutuskan untuk mundur karena medan terlalu beresiko. Kondisi ini membuka mata mereka bahwa tidak semua orang cocok untuk mendaki Rinjani, terutama mereka yang hanya terpekona oleh keindahan puncak yang viral di media sosial. Bagi mereka, keselamatan tetap menjadi prioritas, dan keputusan untuk mundur bukanlah tanda kelemahan, melainkan bentuk tanggung jawab terhadap diri sendiri. Pesan yang ingin mereka sampaikan sangat jelas. Sebelum mendaki, lakukan riset yang mendalam, kenali kemampuan diri, dan jangan pernah menganggap enteng gunung yang sesungguhnya hanya cocok untuk pendaki berpengalaman. Rinjani bukanlah sekadar destinasi wisata alam yang indah untuk dijadikan latar foto di media sosial. Gunung ini adalah medan menantang yang membutuhkan kesiapan fisik, mental, pengalaman, dan kehati-hatian ekstra. Dua cerita yang kita dengar tadi, baik dari turis yang membagikan pengalaman mendaki secara jujur, maupun dari bule yang turut angkat bicara soal tragedi yang menimpa Juliana di Gunung Rinjani, sama-sama menekankan pentingnya tanggung jawab pribadi saat memilih untuk melakukan kegiatan beresiko tinggi, seperti pendakian. Mereka mengingatkan bahwa keindahan alam seharusnya tidak membutakan logika, dan bahwa profesionalisme serta kemampuan individu tidak bisa digantikan hanya dengan semangat petualangan. Kita juga tidak boleh gegabah menyalahkan tim penyelamat yang sudah berusaha maksimal di tengah medan ekstrim seperti Rinjani. Justru lewat pengalaman para bule ini, dunia bisa melihat bahwa Indonesia memiliki pendaki dan tim SAR yang tangguh serta berpengalaman. Maka dari itu, bagi siapapun yang ingin menaklukkan Rinjani atau gunung manapun, pastikan datang bukan hanya dengan semangat, tapi juga dengan bekal pengetahuan, latihan, dan kesadaran penuh akan resiko yang ada. Karena mendaki bukan soal mencapai puncak, tapi soal pulang dengan selamat.